According to Machiavelli, it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Obsession doesn't start with love. It starts with absence, with silence, with the sharp wound you leave when you refuse to give. They will feel your shadow more than your presence. Every unanswered message, every withheld glance, every pause that lingers too long, that's how you take root inside their mind. Not as comfort, but as a haunting. Not as love, but as captivity. And once you master this, they will never escape you. In this video, we will discuss 6 hidden secrets to make anyone obsessed with you. First secret is the hunger of absence. According to Machiavelli, men are more mindful of the things they are deprived of than of those which they possess. You don't understand it at first. You believe obsession begins with attention, with warmth, with proximity. You're wrong. It begins with emptiness, with silence, with what you withhold. You become the void where their hope should live. Every glance you do not give, every word you refuse, every small absence is louder than 1,000 gestures of kindness. Their mind will replay you endlessly. Every conversation, every fleeting smile, every fragment of connection. They search for answers in your absence and find none. That emptiness becomes louder than anything you ever offered. You don't need to speak. You don't need to reach. The silence does all the work. This is where power begins. Not in presence, but in withdrawal. Not in giving, but in strategically taking away. People feel loss more intensely than rejection. Pain fuels pursuit. Hunger fuels obsession. When they realize your attention isn't guaranteed, something shifts inside them. They begin to crave you, not because they love you, not because you gave them joy. They crave the control they lost. They chase the scarcity you engineered. Each moment of longing binds them closer. Each failed reach drives them deeper into dependence. Most people hand out affection like coins, easy, cheap, predictable. And because of that, they are forgotten. They are replaced. They are ignored. But when you withhold, every absence is a statement. Every pause is a signal. Every silence becomes a blade cutting through certainty. You don't just occupy space, you define it. You give them glimpses of connection, a smile, a word, a fleeting presence. Then you retreat, vanish, fade. And with each withdrawal, they feel the emptiness more sharply. Your absence becomes a mirror, reflecting everything they cannot have, everything they cannot understand. Their mind begins to loop. They replay your last touch, your last sentence, your last glance. They try to rationalize it, to explain it, to fill the void themselves. They can't. And the harder they try, the stronger your shadow becomes. You are not there to comfort. You are not there to appease. You are there to make them feel the weight of what they cannot possess. You teach them silently that craving is more powerful than satisfaction. That desire is more addictive than possession. That absence has more authority than attention. Machiavelli understood this instinctively. Control is never achieved by giving more. It is achieved by taking away. The scarcity of your presence becomes currency. The unpredictability of your affection becomes leverage. The hunger you create is the chain that binds them to you. They will start to pursue you. Desperation drives their actions. They don't chase because they love you. They chase because leaving the void unanswered is unbearable. You've planted a question that has no answer, and their only option is to keep circling it. Every attempt to reach you increases their fixation. Every failure to connect intensifies their need. They replay every interaction, dissect every word, analyze every pause. They assign meaning where there is none. They become prisoners of your absence. And the more they reach, the more power you hold. You are the only constant they cannot control. You are the echo that never fades, the emptiness they cannot fill. Do not confuse this with cruelty. It is not malice, it is understanding. You do not create obsession by giving freely. You create obsession by withholding. You do not need to fight to be remembered. You only need to disappear strategically. Others will offer themselves endlessly. They will give without thought. They will beg for attention. They will collapse under the weight of expectation. But your withdrawal rewires the mind. It twists desire. It teaches them that the pain of not having you is sharper than the comfort of having others. You will watch them orbit you, trying to close the distance you continually expand. Their obsession is not love. It is dependence. It is hunger. It is a silent confession they cannot speak. And here lies the cruel truth. The more you deny, the stronger they cling. The absence is more commanding than presence. Silence is more binding than speech. Withdrawal is the chain no gift could ever forge. You will never need to justify. You will never need to explain. Your absence says enough. It declares power. It creates desire. It leaves them wanting. And wanting is the purest form of control. Obsession is not born in love. It is born in the void. It grows in silence. It thrives in the hunger you create. And once it takes hold, it never releases. Second secret is the poison of uncertainty. According to Machiavelli, men are deceived more by appearances than by reality, and those who rely on certainty are the easiest to control. You have already planted hunger. You have already left them wanting. But desire alone is fragile. It dies in familiarity. It fades in predictability. Obsession requires a new element. Confusion. Certainty kills. People only obsess over what they cannot fully understand. If you are always present, always predictable, always explained, they will grow bored. They will relax. They will no longer chase. So you become unpredictable. A flicker of warmth, a flash of attention, a sudden smile. And then nothing. Silence, withdrawal, absence. They feel chosen, then abandoned, then unsure if they were ever chosen at all. Every contradiction becomes a blade turned inward. They ask themselves, was it me? Was it them? Or is it both? The mind cannot rest here. It spins. They rewrite every conversation, reconstruct every glance, rationalize every pause. They make excuses. They create stories. All of it runs through the same loop, decoding you, and they will never succeed. You do not need to explain. You do not need to justify. Understanding is never theirs to earn. The more they think, the deeper your shadow settles inside them. Every unanswered question strengthens your hold. Every unresolved tension becomes another thread tying them to you. This is not cruelty. It is subtle strategy. Too much harshness, and they break. Too much kindness, and they relax. True obsession thrives in the delicate balance between desire and denial. A smile here, a pause there, an embrace then, withdrawal. Enough to create hope, never enough to satisfy. You are the rhythm they cannot predict, the pulse they cannot match. Their obsession grows not from clarity, but from the tantalizing chaos you orchestrate. They chase what they cannot hold. They ache for what they cannot define. They crave what escapes them at every turn. They will analyze your behavior endlessly. Every word, every glance, every silence will become evidence of meaning. They will read into your motives what doesn't exist. They will assume significance where none was intended, and in doing so, You embed yourself deeper into their mind. Uncertainty is more intoxicating than affection. Confusion is more binding than consistency. You do not give answers. You give questions. You do not offer comfort. You offer obsession. The power lies in restraint, in knowing when to show warmth and when to vanish, in letting them feel both chosen and discarded in the same breath, in teaching them that your attention is unpredictable and therefore addictive. And the more they attempt to decode you, the more they fail. Each failure becomes obsession. Each obsession becomes a chain, and you hold the lock. They cannot control you. They cannot predict you, and that lack of control will consume them more than your presence ever could. You watch from the distance, calm, detached, observing the tension you orchestrated. They do not realize it yet, but their mind is no longer their own. They orbit around you. They chase shadows. They seek certainty where there is none. Every glance of hope, every flicker of disappointment, every contradiction you create is a step deeper into dependency. They do not see the pattern. You are not a pattern. You are the disruption, the question that cannot be answered, the pull that cannot be resisted. Obsession cannot thrive in predictability. Desire cannot survive familiarity. And attention, once freely given, loses its power. You create the perfect balance. Enough warmth to spark pursuit, enough withdrawal to ignite despair, enough uncertainty to twist desire into addiction. This is the poison you administer silently. It is invisible. It is psychological. It is absolute. And it leaves them thinking they are in control, while you remain untouchable. The cruel truth is simple. People are obsessed not with who you are, but with what they cannot have, what they cannot understand, what they cannot predict. And by withholding certainty, you ensure they never let go. They will chase. They will question. They will ache. And every attempt to grasp you only strengthens your hold. Because obsession does not arise from clarity. It arises from mystery, from contradiction, from the delicate torment of hope and doubt entwined. And the more they try to comprehend you, the more they realize they cannot. And that is when they become yours. Not because of love, not because of loyalty, but because the poison of uncertainty has taken root. They are caught in your orbit. They are enthralled by your unpredictability. They are bound silently by the questions you will never answer. And even if they try to walk away, the uncertainty you planted will follow them, haunt them, pull them back. Because some poisons are irreversible, some games are unwinnable, and some obsessions are permanent. Third secret is the mirror of desire. According to Machiavelli, he who seeks to appear indispensable first makes others feel incomplete without him. Obsession is not born from your presence alone. It is born from reflection. You do not give them everything. You give them glimpses of what they secretly long for. You become the echo of their hidden desires, the part of themselves they dare not reveal. When they voice a fear, you acknowledge it, not with sympathy, not with explanation, but as if you have always understood it. When they hint at an ambition, you validate it. You become the figure who sees the world exactly as they hope it to be. You are their reflection, their confirmation. Their illusion of completeness rests in your selective acknowledgement. They will begin to reveal more small truths, forbidden wishes, the fractures they hide. You catch them, hold them, reflect them back with precision. Not everything, just enough to keep them believing you are their only mirror. The danger is subtle. They do not see the manipulation. They think it is intimacy. They think it is connection. They think you understand them in ways no one else can. And in believing this, they hand over the keys to their inner world. You are not their salvation. You are their captor. Because the moment they believe you complete their secret world, they cannot let go. Not even when your absence cuts them. Not even when your indifference burns them. Not even when the hunger you planted grows unbearable. Their identity becomes intertwined with the reflection you provide. They see themselves through your acknowledgement, their desires through your validation, their fears through your careful recognition. You become the stage on which their entire internal world plays out, and they are trapped in your performance. You give them freedom to reveal. Then use that revelation as leverage. Every confession, every hint of vulnerability, every moment of trust becomes a thread you can pull, and they will pull themselves closer without realizing they are being woven into your design. The power lies in subtlety. You do not dominate with presence. You dominate with reflection. You do not control by force. You control by shaping their self-perception. The more they see themselves in you, the more inescapable you become. Every smile you return, every nod of understanding, every moment of seeming empathy, it is carefully calibrated. It is measured. It is a lure they cannot resist. Because who does not long to be seen, truly seen, for the hidden parts of themselves? And yet, they cannot escape you, because the reflection you provide is addictive. The illusion of understanding becomes a chain. The validation of hidden desires becomes a dependency. They do not just think about you. They replay their own identities through you. They try to separate themselves from you. They try to assert independence. But the mirror you have become cannot be walked away from. Their own secret world calls back to them through your image, their longing, their ambitions, their fears. They all orbit around the reflection only you can provide. And the cruelest truth, you never intended to complete them. You only intended to hold them. You only intended to make them unable to exist without seeing themselves in your reflection. You are not warmth. You are not love. You are the stage, the echo, the unseen hand that guides them back to themselves. Through you, their obsession deepens with every acknowledgement, every carefully measured affirmation, every small selective truth. They do not see the pattern. They see only themselves. And that is how they remain tethered. That is how they cannot leave. That is how desire becomes dependency. That is how the mirror becomes a cage. You will watch them chase this reflection endlessly, never realizing they are pursuing a version of themselves trapped in your design. You will observe, detached, as their world contracts to the shape you have carved. Because obsession does not need your love. It needs your reflection. It needs your careful alignment with their hidden world. And the moment they believe you are the only one who truly sees them, they are yours, not by force, not by argument, not by presence, but by the subtle, insidious power of reflection, by the illusion that you complete what they cannot admit exists. And when they realize too late, the stage is set. They are trapped. They are addicted. They are obsessed, because some mirrors are too perfect to break. Fourth secret is the trap of emotional withholding. According to Machiavelli, he who controls what is hidden controls the hearts of men. You have already planted hunger. You have already sown confusion. Now comes the cruelty that makes obsession permanent. You do not give them peace. You do not give them certainty. You give them glimpses of hope, and then you take them away. A smile when they are about to give up, a laugh that hints at intimacy, and then silence. Cold, unyielding. You step back when they lean too close. You retreat when they expect warmth. Every touch, every word, every moment of connection is measured, weaponized, calculated. They chase you because they cannot rest, because they cannot predict, because the moments of warmth are scarce, fleeting, intoxicating. They think they are seeking love, but they are seeking the next hit of approval. They are addicted to the chase, to the uncertainty, to the drip feed of what they cannot fully possess. Most people believe love is built on openness. They mistake generosity for power. Machiavelli knew otherwise. Power is cultivated in absence. Control is exercised in the limits you place on yourself. By restricting access to your emotions, you transform desire into dependency. You are no longer a person. You are a scarcity, a drug, a force they cannot resist. They begin to anticipate your movements. Every pause becomes a test. Every glance is dissected for meaning. Their mind runs in circles, replaying every interaction, trying to grasp the rhythm you refuse to provide. And in failing to predict you, they fall deeper into your orbit. The moments of kindness are not accidental. They are tools. They are bait. Each laugh, each soft word, each fleeting look is a thread you control. And when you remove it, they feel the void acutely. They do not know why they ache. They only know that they must chase it again. Dependency grows in the space between your gestures. Desire flourishes where certainty dies. They will not stay for love, for warmth, or for comfort. They will stay because they cannot stand not knowing, because your absence haunts them more than anyone else's presence ever could. Even when you are near, they are never satisfied. You allow them to hope, then you withhold. You allow them to desire, then you retreat. Every emotional high is paired with a low. Every moment of closeness is shadowed by withdrawal. This is not cruelty for cruelty's sake. It is mastery disguised as indifference. And the deeper they chase, the more invested they become. Their thoughts, their actions, their emotions orbit you. They adjust to your rhythm without knowing it. They crave the approval you choose to grant. They fear the silence you wield, and you remain untouchable. This is the trap, the subtle, invisible cage that binds them. They are never free. They are never secure. They are always reaching, always hoping, always spinning around the emotional gravity you create. They mistake the highs for connection. They mistake the lows for challenge. They do not realize it is all a pattern. They do not realize that the person they desire is the one who withholds, the one who disappears, the one who cannot be possessed. And in this withholding, you achieve what declarations of love never could. You achieve permanence. You achieve obsession. You achieve power. Because some people are not held by gifts. They are held by scarcity, by absence, by the cruel, deliberate withholding of what they long for most. You give enough to keep them coming. You deny enough to keep them wanting. And in that space, they become yours. Not because of choice, not because of loyalty, not because of love, but because they cannot exist without the moments you allow them to taste. The trap is invisible. The dependency is inescapable. And when they finally understand, it will be too late. Fifth secret is the stage of social domination. According to Machiavelli, Men are influenced more by appearances than by reality, and the fear of shame binds them stronger than desire. Obsession confined to the private mind is powerful, but it is fragile. It can be ignored, denied, or rationalized away. True control emerges when their obsession becomes visible, when it is mirrored, not only in thought, but in social perception, when the world sees what they cannot resist. You understand this instinctively. You do not merely inhabit their mind. You inhabit the stage upon which their identity plays out. You become the silent script they cannot rewrite. They speak of you, reveal themselves in glimpses, betray longing in subtle gestures, and you let the world notice. Your presence is curated. Your attention is selective. Your aura, admiration, mystery, unattainability is calculated. You do not simply exist. You are positioned as an object of fascination, and others see it. Their peers, their friends, their rivals. Every gaze that catches your fleeting smile, every acknowledgement you grant, every subtle favor, it becomes a proof of their fixation, and that proof tightens the chain. Shame, pride, fear of exposure. These are invisible levers you pull. They do not merely want you in secret. They need to be seen with you, to be validated by your attention, to avoid the humiliation of indifference. Your control becomes a public performance. Their desire is amplified because it is witnessed. Suddenly, their obsession carries stakes beyond emotion, reputation, ego, identity. Every whispered comment about you, every glance that betrays longing, becomes a signal, a confirmation, a mark of status they cannot abandon. They chase not only the satisfaction of desire, but the avoidance of public shame. This is how power endures. Kings, rulers, and manipulators have long understood it. Loyalty and fixation are strongest when private longing intersects with public scrutiny. People do not simply follow affection. They respond to the spectacle of dominance. The social arena is your ally. You allow them to fail without noticing. You let others observe their fascination without explanation. You do not intervene. You do not justify. The more visible their longing, the more entrapped they become, and they cannot withdraw without risk of humiliation, loss of face, or the perception of weakness. Your mastery lies in subtlety. You hint, you withdraw, you allow glimpses of attention, and you let the social world magnify them. They will chase, not only because they desire you, but because the eyes of the world insist they should. They internalize the expectation. They police their own obsession, and it binds them tighter than your words ever could. They will seek to control their image, to gain approval, to avoid disgrace. And in doing so, they tighten the invisible chains around themselves. Their social persona now orbits you as obsessively as their private thoughts. You do not coerce, you orchestrate. You are the gravity they cannot resist. And when they attempt to distance themselves, the public stakes pull them back. Their pride recoils at exposure. Their fear of judgment intensifies longing. Even indifference cannot liberate them. They are bound by eyes that watch, by whispers that hint, by glances that accuse. They chase the approval, the gaze, the recognition, and in it, they chase you. Obsession in private is a seed. Obsession made public is a fortress. You are not merely desired. You are revered, feared, and indispensable. They cannot abandon what others witness. They cannot escape what they cannot hide. And in this stage, the grip is unbreakable. Desire and social pressure intertwine. Pride, fear, and longing form an invisible cage, and you stand outside it, calm, untouchable, a master of both shadow and spectacle, because some obsessions are not sustained by love. They are sustained by the fear of shame, the hunger for status, and the impossibility of withdrawal. Sixth secret is the chains of silence, according to Machiavelli. Men forget the death of their father sooner than the loss of their inheritance. Silence is the final weapon. Words can be negotiated, explained, denied. Silence cannot. Silence is a wound, a presence that refuses to manifest. You withhold answers, explanations, any justification, and in that absence, a storm brews. Every unanswered message, every avoided conversation, every ignored question becomes a blade. They turn inward. They ask themselves, did I misstep? Was it something I said? Or is it me, flawed, incapable of earning the closure they withhold? And in the quiet, they spiral. They chase. They analyze. They ache. Silence is not absence. Absence can be filled with distraction, with other attention, with distraction. Silence is permanence. It convinces them that they were never enough, that nothing they do will satisfy, that they must pursue relentlessly, think endlessly, and yearn eternally. You do not soothe. You do not explain. You do not allow clarity. And in doing so, you plant the seed of obsession. Their mind, unanchored, seeks resolution that never comes. The longing becomes a loop, a self-inflicted prison where your shadow dominates every thought. Even if they escape physically, even if they distance themselves, their mind remains chained, replaying, reinterpreting, revisiting every interaction, every nuance, every hesitation. Your silence is eternal, unyielding, inescapable. This is the inheritance you deny them, the closure they crave but cannot claim. And as they dwell in the vacuum you create, they realize too late that they belong to the silence, not to your words, not to your presence, but to the space you leave unfilled, which grows heavier with every passing moment. And in that silence, you become immortal in their mind, unforgettable, unattainable, absolute. According to Machiavelli, the greatest chains are invisible and the sharpest weapons are never spoken. To make someone obsessed with you is never about love. Love is fragile. Love can be negotiated, explained, even replaced. Obsession is permanent. Obsession is control. You become the wound they cannot heal, the silence they cannot endure, the reflection they cannot replace. Every absence you allow, every glance you give and retract, every word left unspoken becomes a chain wrapped around their mind. They chase not because they want, but because they must. Not because they understand, but because they cannot. You teach them that what is unreachable is more precious. You teach them that your attention is the currency they will spend endlessly, yet never fully acquire. And in this, you are not cruel. You are inevitable. Their thoughts, their desire, their longing, all orbit you like gravity, inescapable. They do not leave, because leaving would be surrender, and surrender is unbearable. Obsession is not beauty, it is captivity, and once you master it, you will understand what Machiavelli whispered centuries ago. People are bound not by loyalty, but by need. The question remains, will you wield this power, or will you be consumed by it?